Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, it's going to be a little bit of a long video. I'm going to kind of just give like basics for the newer type of trader, but it just gives kind of a overall background of where your money could be, where you can have it for which types of short-term, intermediate, and long-term that you're looking. And we're going to go through like bank accounts, we're going to go through high yield savings, we're going to go through 401ks, we're going to go through the taxable account, we'll go through the Roth, we'll go over a rollover IRA, we'll go over a Treasury Direct, and crypto portfolio. But before we get into it, let's just talk about the basics, and we'll focus on the bank account area. And this is kind of how I manage the money for myself, and I think it's just good to get an idea of how other people are doing it, because money is this topic that people don't really talk about, but I think it's good to at least get an idea and understand, okay, am I on the right track? Am I doing what I can to maximize my money and fight inflation every single year, even if the money's not being invested? So let's get into it. I hope you learned something, and if you feel like you did, please subscribe and like to the channel. All right, so the first part of this video, we're just going to look at bank accounts. And when I use bank accounts, I use this for my monthly expenses. This is going to be money that I need every single month to pay my rent, bills, food, water, whatever it is. Immediate bills are going to go into here. Now, it depends on what your range is. Some people could be $3,000, $10,000 a month, whatever it is. So it's just a ballpark idea. But the good thing about these bank accounts, especially if you use credit unions, and we'll look at credit unions versus bank accounts, credit unions will offer usually a little bit higher interest rates if it's in a money market. So let's look at a credit union, for example, so you can see kind of what I'm talking about compared to an actual bank. All right, so I found this looking online. I think it's just a nice quick reference comparing credit unions versus banks. Now, for my money that I'm using for monthly expenses, I put my money in credit unions. And basically the type of financial institution is that they're nonprofit, they're owned by the members, versus a bank that is for profit and it's owned by shareholders. So if you're a bank and you're trying to make money for your shareholders, why would you give more money to individuals that leave their actual hard-earned cash inside the bank? They're going to have lower interest rates. Credit unions, since they're nonprofit, they are going to offer higher savings accounts, like higher interest rates for savings accounts compared to a bank. And that's why I like to use them, because I'll show you another credit union that has higher rates just to show you a quick comparison. The fees are lower when it comes to credit unions, and there's usually like a minimum balance of like $5 or $10, depending on which one you look at in a credit union compared to your banks. Your banks will like make you have at least like $1,500 in there as a minimum. And to me, that's like $1,500 that you're giving the bank interest free that they can use for whatever they want, but you're not going to make any money off of it. When it comes to the credit union that I'm in, the minimum balance is $5, so I can invest the rest and let it grow, which helps me every year to fight inflation, because that extra $1,500 difference between the bank and the credit union makes a difference in my opinion. Now with credit unions though, you have to be careful which state you live in, because there are fewer branches compared to the banks. There's less of them. So you got to make sure you're in a good location. And in today's world, there are fewer ATMs when it comes to credit unions where you can just pull money out. But I pretty much do everything virtually. And I don't really need to use an ATM that often, because I use either a credit card or just a debit card if I need to, but mainly a credit card just to get the points and just pay it off every time. So there are some positives with the banks, whereas banks have more ATMs than credit unions. They have more branches. But I don't like the higher minimum balance that you have to have in a bank compared to a credit union. But let me just give you an example so you can see. I'll bring up two examples. So I just Googled a federal credit union, and quickly looking for credit unions, you can see that this credit union offers 2% APY. That means interest you're going to get every single year on your money on balances up to $15,000. So that's pretty good. You're going to get 2% on your money up to $15,000. At least it's earning something. So now let's take a look at Bank of America and compare what they give you for the amount of money that you will leave at the bank. So now to compare, this is Bank of America, and look at the interest rates that they're giving you: 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. And what's the big thing that we were talking about before? This is for accounts that are less than 2,500, less than 2,500. You have to have a minimum just to even reach this. And 0.04 is not going to earn you anything. You're going to lose money to inflation. And it's just something to consider if you're putting a little bit of money just to pay your monthly bills. Why not earn a higher interest rate while it's sitting there? And it's still safe. It's not at risk. So that's how I look at it. I want to earn as much as I possibly can, even if I'm just paying my bills with this, and still know that at least I'm earning something on the year, because any little bit helps it grow, especially when you're just starting out. So now we're moving on to the second part. Now you want to have an emergency fund. You want to be able to take care of your expenses. 3 to 6 months everybody recommends. For you, it really depends on, I feel like, how much money you make, what your bills are, and when you actually need the money. I like using high yield savings accounts for my emergency fund. I like using it to save for, let's say, a house, or say you're starting a business. And always ensure that these high yield savings accounts are giving you that insurance of up to $250,000. And just some examples, because I use Citibank, and that's just what I use because they give 5.05% interest rate. So I like to just include them. I don't get any kickback or anything. I'm just showing you what I use. But you have other options. We'll look at it on the internet. There's SoFi, there's Discover, there's Barclays. And the reason these high interest savings accounts are good is because you can earn up to 4 to 5% interest rates depending on how the market's doing. Currently in 2023, the rates are so high for interest that the high yield savings accounts are up to almost 5% even plus now. So you just got to do your research, call, make sure it's safe, and then put your money in there and let it grow 4 to 5%. It allows you to increase your savings because you're not planning on using it. And I like to use like a 1 to 3 year time frame for this. And this allows you to hit your goals, whether it's emergency fund, saving for the house, starting a business, let's say you're saving for a car, whatever it is. At least you're earning more than the previous 2% if you're using a credit union, or let's say 0.04% if you're using like let's say Bank of America. So this is where I start looking online and seeing what offers the best rates. And let's get into it. So this was a quick Google search looking at just online savings accounts. Looking at this, you can see SoFi right now is offering 4.5%. You need a minimum balance of 0 to earn this 4.5%. And signing up with them gives you $250. So that's nice to see. And it shows that's a member of FDIC, so it's FDIC insured up to $250,000, which is always nice to know that your money is safe. Then you have the BML Alto, which gives you 4.85%. Same thing, 0 minimum balance for the APY, it's FDIC insured. You have Amex Savings, it gives you 4.25%. You need $1 balance to earn this 4.25%. Citizens, 4.5%. So these are just standalone examples of what you need to, start a high yield savings account. And look at Citibank's interest rate. This is the one I use, and you don't have to use this. You can use anything you're comfortable with. But look at that. Citibank offers 5.05%. But the difference with this is they offer you the 5.05%, but you have to maintain a balance of $5,000 or more, and that's why you're getting this 5.05%. So it just shows you that there are other ways to park your money and make a little extra cash. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're saving for a house, you're not using the money, you're using it for the business, or you're buying a car, you need the money within 1 to 2 years, I kind of recommend these high yield savings accounts. It allows you to be able to be flexible, and it allows you to save a little bit more money. Instead of making that 2% in a credit union, you'd make the 5%. And I think that's important because it allows you, if you had $100,000 in there, 2% is $2,000. If you have 100,000 in there, that's $5,000. So it's an extra couple grand difference that will help you along your way as you're trying to save and reach your goals. So definitely something to look into for your high yield savings account when you're trying to save a little bit extra. The next thing I wanted to talk about was when you work for somebody, you're a W-2 employee, they usually will offer you a 401k. And the max you can put into that is $22,500 if you're under a certain age limit. We'll look at it really quick online, but what I always recommend is, even if you're not going to max this account out because you might not be able to because of bills, you should try to at least get that company match. Where I currently work, there is no match, so it's whatever I put into it. But some companies will offer, 1% to 10% match each year. So that's free money. You should be trying to put this money, invest it for the long term. And I just put like an example in here as a low cost index S&P 500. And you can refer to my channel. I have plenty of videos and playlists on the S&P 500 and where you can invest your money. And there's definitely plenty of options. But just remember that when you invest in your employee's 401k, if they offer a match, and let's say you had to invest $1,000 to get the match, I would definitely recommend it, because if they're going to give you, $400 after you invest a certain amount, that's free extra money that's going into the account that you can invest long term. So let's just take a look. We'll look at an article and just show you how much it can really add up to be. So I feel like this was a good little place to start. Your employer 401k match, basically what is it? It's just an employer-sponsored tax-advantaged retirement plan. That allows you, if it's pre-tax, to deduct money from your total AGI, adjusted gross income, meaning that if you made $100,000 this year and you put $10,000 in your 401k, you're only going to be taxed on $90,000 instead of the $100,000. This gives you a tax advantage. You're paying less in taxes that year and allows you to invest the money. So many employers will match a portion of their employees' own contributions up to a certain dollar amount or percentage. So let me show you a quick example. So this example shows you your annual contribution, and then it shows you how much they will match. So this says 50 cents per dollar on your first 6% of pay. This is like one example they'll do, but it shows you that if you're investing $3,000 of your own money, and then your employer will contribute $1,500, your total annual contribution will be $4,500. So you only have to put in $3,000 of your own money, and the company put in $1,500 for you. That's a $1,500 difference that you didn't have to work the hours that you had to put in each week just to make that paycheck. And they're going to give you an additional $1,500. So it's free money. So it's just one example of how you should really take advantage of that 401k. If they have a company match, you should try to get it if you can. Obviously, if bills are too tight and you can't do it, that's another story. But it's free money. Try to look at it in that aspect, and you'll be able to have more money in your investment account for when you retire in the future. So always try to take advantage of that when you start a new job. Look at that 401k, see if they offer a company match. All right, so the next up is the Roth IRA, which we'll look at online. There's certain amounts that you can do as a max contribution, which if you're under like 50 years old, you just got to double check me. It's a quick Google search, but it's like $6,500 a year is what I try to put in if I'm under the adjusted gross income, which we'll look at in just a second. So a Roth IRA is basically you put the money in, and whatever it grows to in the future after 59 and a half, it grows tax-free for you, which is a huge benefit because you don't have to pay taxes in the future. So there's good ways to put money away and try to save. Now, this is something I definitely just want to introduce you to, and definitely speak to a professional accountant about it that can really go through it. But I believe the Roth is one of the strongest retirement accounts there is, because whatever it grows to in the future at 59 and a half, it's yours. And you don't have to pay taxes on it. So, but let's break it down. Let's look into a different article that kind of shows it a little more advanced. So in terms of Roth IRA contributions, this is strictly for 2023, but you can just go right to the IRS website. It's just irs.gov, and it shows you how much you can put into your Roth, the $6,500, but it shows the modified adjusted gross income, just to get an idea if you're going over it. Now, always, check with your accountant that you use, but I just want to introduce you to the idea because it's a great way to save for your retirement. And this has all the limits here. The 138K, 153K, and it goes through all the different situations that you could have. So it's definitely something to look into and speak to your accountant about it. But I just want to introduce the idea of it here. All right, so the next thing I want to break down is your taxable brokerage account. And I'll show you like what I do in mine and the percentage I have in my investments. But your taxable brokerage account is an account that really has no limits. You just pay taxes on it after you sell your stocks. Your short term is usually taxed as your ordinary income, meaning if you buy Tesla and you sell it within 365 days, less than 1 year, you'll just be treated as ordinary tax income, whatever your tax bracket is. And then your long term, if you hold it greater than 365 days, I believe it's 15%. So if you made $100, you pay $15 in taxes on your investment. I'm going to show you the investment that I do. I invest in the S&P 500, the Growth Fund, and SCHD. This is all within Fidelity. And then I own individual stocks as well. But let me just show you really quick on my Fidelity, just so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. All right, so on this, in my taxable brokerage account, you're going to see that I'm using Fidelity. So it gives me an overall asset allocation where I'm 99% invested in stocks. And it shows a most aggressive portfolio. And you'll see that I use FSPGX, 42% of my portfolio is in growth stocks. FNILX is S&P 500, that's 41% of my taxable brokerage account. And then SCHD, which is a dividend ETF, which is 17%. Now my goal is to try to get this to about like 40%, 40%, and then 20%. So we're getting there. The goal is there. And then we're going to slowly add in stocks as well. But this is just an example of, what I'm using for my taxable brokerage account, and that I invest long term with a 5 to 20 year, outlook on. So now we're getting into the rollover IRA, which is your pre-tax retirement. And anytime I've ever had a job, I roll over that 401k into my rollover IRA. And always got to consult your accountant about this, but I'm leaving a previous job. Let's say it's got 10 grand in a 401k. I'll roll it over into like my Fidelity account. So all of my money is in the same place. So that's definitely an advantage to do. And I just try to put the money, whether it's in a total market index fund or S&P 500, hold it for 30, 40 years, and just let it grow. The next thing is Treasury Direct. Treasury Direct is very good because this allows you to help fight inflation. I have money in I-Series bonds where you can put up to $10,000 a year. But you have to remember that the rate varies every 6 months. In May and November, it changes. So right now, I believe I'm making like 6%. But 6 months prior to that, I was getting 9% on the $10,000. So it varies. Then you can use Treasury bills as well to protect against inflation. So it's just another strategy where you can put your money to try to fight inflation and let it grow. But keep in mind, with these I-Series bonds, you have to hold them in the account for over a year. Otherwise, I believe there's some penalty. And then let's say you had it in for 15 to 18 months in the I-Series bonds, they'll take the last 3 months of your interest that you earned. So it's definitely some money that, you don't want to really put in there unless you don't need it. So extra money that I had, I threw in there. I didn't need it. I've been holding on these I-Series bonds for over 15 months now, so I can take them out anytime I want. And you can also buy Treasury bills. The last thing I wanted to get into was the Fidelity crypto portfolio. This is more of a fun portfolio for me. I don't really know if it's really going to go up in the future. I just buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I have a playlist on that. You can look at it and track my exact crypto portfolio because I just dollar cost average in it like I would with an S&P 500 fund. Every month I put money into it, and I think it's cool to see. So let's take a look at that as well. So as you can see here, you can buy crypto from other places. I just have most of the majority of my money in Fidelity. Fidelity offers Fidelity Crypto. So I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and this is what I have them at right now. I have a cost basis of $25,300 in Bitcoin, and I'm up $26. And Ethereum, I am down $40 right now. Personally, I just add in this every single month. I'm not really looking at the price. This is like my fun account. I'm not going to really ever do more than like 2% of my portfolio into crypto. But I like to have some exposure to it in case it eventually goes, Bitcoin to 100,000 or something. So at least I got something in there. I can make some money off this. But I think it's good just to have your money kind of spread out and diversified over a long term. And you can kind of see your exposure to different areas will allow you to, get certain gains that you wouldn't have if you didn't have these portfolios. But it's definitely a good spot to have to start. So this is my channel, Trading Simplified, and it's pretty awesome. We passed 500 subscribers, so I thank you for that. And I try to make these playlists to help out, like my trading P&L for day trading, my Fidelity Crypto portfolio, that's full transparency. The Active Trader Pro that I use to day trade on, I have videos on how to use it. My trading strategies, my long-term investments, penny stocks, current positions, and just investing ideas in general. So if you feel like you're learning something, please subscribe, please like, I appreciate you tuning in. And I just like making these videos and updating you how I'm doing. Hopefully one day this channel can get much bigger, but hopefully you can learn something while you're looking through it as well. All right, thanks.